On 12 News at 6.
Well, it's a new travel requirement 20 years in the making, and today the Department of Homeland Security began enforcement of Real ID requirements at airports across the country.
Karima Devine joins us now with a look at how it's going so far. I'd imagine there's some people a little nervous, some people trying to slip by. What's going on, Karima?
Yes, I agree with you, Troy. Well, nearly 20 years of delays at this point. Airline travelers now need a state-issued ID or a driver's license that complies with the nationwide standards recommended by the 9/11 Commission and signed into law back in 2005. So that means no matter where it was issued, that ID has a star in the right upper corner.
They may be diverted to a different line, have an extra step, but people will be allowed to fly.
Now, extra steps could include additional TSA screening and verification, even for those who use TSA PreCheck. Now, acceptable alternatives to a real ID include a passport, a trusted traveler card like Global Entry, a Department of Defense ID, a permanent resident card, and a Veterans Health Identification card, among others. Guys, we'll send it back over to you. Troy?
All right, thank you, Karima. Patricia Mancha from TSA is here now to clear up confusion you may have about Real ID. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. So today's the absolute cutoff deadline, correct?
Correct.
This is it. All right. So what did you see at airports across the country?
At Phoenix Sky Harbor and at airports all across the country, we saw status quo. People showed up with their real ID, and if they didn't have it, most of them had a passport. That's what we're hearing from officers across the country. There's other IDs that people can use, like a tribal ID, a green card if they're a permanent resident. And for a full list, go to tsa.gov/realid, and there's about 13 documents that comply with that requirement.
Okay, so if I'm one of those people and I haven't been paying attention and I don't have a passport and I haven't updated my ID, can I still take a flight if it goes off tomorrow?
You can still take a flight, maybe.
Okay.
So we actually have a verification process to verify your ID. Or your identity. What we do is much like a credit check. We will ask you questions about yourself. But some people can't remember where they used to live. They can't remember the kind of car they had. And those are the kind of questions that may be asked. They also may use multiple names or even nicknames. That slows down the process.
Wow.
Now, if we have 100 people who don't have an ID and you're number 99 on that list, we may not be able to verify your identity in time for you to make your flight.
Wow. So about how much extra time do you think it would take on a normal day if you don't have your ID?
Well, today we actually had a minimal number of people who didn't have an ID. So that was a good sign. However, summer is coming, and that's when I think we will really test this, because people who don't usually travel will be at the airport.
So people might ask, why do we need this? What was broken with the other system? You know, air travel has gotten very safe. What would you say to that?
It's identity verification and an added layer of security per the 9/11 Commission. This is the very first step in making sure that everyone who shows up at the airport and takes a flight is actually who they say they are.
All right. So let's move forward. You were talking about summer travel season. That's right around the corner, right? I mean, here we are in May. How's everything look? Are you fully staffed? Everything's looking good?
We're fully staffed. Our officers are prepared. It was all hands on deck. You know, this was great news for us, not just in Phoenix, but all across the country. We continue to be prepared, but people still need to get their real ID, and there's still time. Each state has a different design, and it's really important for you to contact the state in which you live to make sure that you have the proper documentation.
Right. And here in Arizona, it's pretty clear. You've got a little yellow star up in the top right, and if you've got that, you're pretty good.
That's correct. California has a bear with a star. New York has a hologram. So each state and each territory actually has its own design.
Great. Thank you for coming in today, and thank you for enlightening us on the Real ID. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right, Tram.
Well, don't forget the D-backs will debut their new City Connect jerseys this Friday when they take on Shohei Ohtani and the NL West leading Dodgers.
Boo.
Tell me how you feel.
Boo,
You can
Dodgers.
watch that big rivalry game right here on 12 News. Pre-game coverage begins at 6 p.m. again, right here on 12 News.